Hello and welcome back to Jack Knives Reviews. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives. Today I will be reviewing The Banshees of Inisherin. Near the end of the Irish Civil War in 1923, on a small island called Inisherin, Colm Doherty, a folk violinist, decides to stop talking or associating with his lifelong drinking friend, Padraig. This hurts Padraig as he doesn't know what he's done to suddenly not want him around. Colm simply wants to be away from Padraig for the rest of his life and do something to be remembered by. Padraig's sister, Saoirse, as well as a local boy named Dominic, try to be peacekeepers and defuse their tension for a brighter future, as the very real gunfire of war haunts the island like a lingering banshee from folklore. This is a Martin McDonagh film, and with a lot of his films, it balances a very thin line between black comedy and very serious drama. Some may know of his work. He made In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and his most famous work is probably Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. How to describe Martin McDonagh's work? He has a habit of doing a few tropes, like all great filmmakers do. He sprinkles the aspects of Irish lifestyle, which of course he is Irish, with a kind of cynicism, but kind of wholehearted cynicism where it's like, you get it. You know, you either get it or you don't. He divides audiences for some reason. And this is definitely a dividing film. It plays on a lot of basic emotions that many of us have. I'm sure everyone here has at least had some form of a falling out with someone they were close to, or they just decided they don't want you in their lives. And you have that overwhelming guilt and that feeling of, what did I do wrong? Why did they leave me? What is it about me that makes them not want to be around me? And this movie plays on that very well. This is very Irish-centric, Irish-heavy, but it doesn't really have to be set in Ireland. But the backdrop of the Civil War going on in the background with the overwhelmingly creepy booming gunfire, it adds this added pressure to the almost quickening, you want to hurry up because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And that really does play very well with this movie. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson once again steal the show, especially Brendan Gleeson. When they first worked together with In Bruges, it was more of a Colin Farrell movie. He was very much at the center of it, and it was way more of a comedy. This was all on Brendan Gleeson. This was his shining movie. This was his movie to show his acting chops and show his deepening sadness with just little aspects that he would do in the movie. Very subtle nuances, subtle gestures, and subtle looks that he would just give Colin Farrell that he didn't have to give you context. You just look at it. And you see this withered old man who is just looking at his life and really just thinking, what was it all worth? What does it matter? And you look at Colin Farrell's character and he is just trying to get day to day. Seeing his friend as more of a life raft to just keep getting by. And you relate to both of them. Everyone has at some point looked at their life and gone, maybe it could be better. Maybe it could be worse. Maybe something needs to change. I also feel that the aspect of the island being a very small, tight-knit community really makes it worse, because it's one thing when you cut someone out of your life, but it's nearly impossible to really recover when you see them practically every day. It's one of the reasons why most companies don't want anyone to date within the workplace, because what if there's a falling out? What if you get a divorce? What if you don't want to be around each other and it causes massive conflict within your personal lives, but you have to go about your professional lives and see them every day? Yes, it does take a lot of mental strength, but could you really handle that? And this movie plays on that feeling a lot. How do you get over someone when you see them every day? How do you pretend that person doesn't exist when you've spent years with them? How do you get over the closure of guilt of doing something when you don't even know what you did? That is why this movie just blends so perfectly. The entire cast is fantastic. There's even a lot of very subtle Irish heritage that plays on this. In fact, there's an old lady who wanders around the town, and she is very much a metaphor for banshees in Irish folklore. For those that may not know much about Irish folklore, banshees aren't necessarily just ghosts or specters. They're more of a warning for the oncoming death that approaches. That's why they're haunting Wales and their scary visage. If you look upon it, you will more than likely face a horrible fate. Perhaps death, or perhaps worse than death. You're not quite sure. And that feeling does draw upon this movie very, very well. I mean, technically they call it a black comedy, but it's not even a comedy, really. It's more of just a straight drama with a couple of sprinklings of comedy nuances. The trailer was extremely misleading because it's trying to play on the comedy of it. This is not a comedic movie. This is a very much serious drama, and if you're in the mood for a movie that's about self-reflection, this is probably a good movie for you. I give the Banshees of Inisherin 5 out of 5. Have you seen the Banshees of Inisherin? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see you next time.